Born in Florida in 1892, Augusta Savage began creating art as a child by using the natural clay found in her hometown. After attending Cooper Union in New York City, she made a name for herself as a sculptor during the Harlem Renaissance and was awarded fellowships to study abroad. Savage later served as a director for the Harlem Community Center and created the monumental work The Harp for the 1939 New York World's Fair. She spent most of her later years in Saugerties, New York, before her death from cancer in 1962.
Born on September 7, 1963, in Compton, California, Eazy-E co-founded Ruthless Records and started the group NWA with fellow rappers Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. The controversial act, known for its violent and misogynistic lyrics, dropped albums like Straight Outta Compton, with Eazy releasing work as a solo artist. A radio show host as well, he died from AIDS-related complications on March 26, 1995. Born on August 26, 1935, in Newburgh, New York, Geraldine A. Ferraro worked as an assistant district attorney before being elected as a Democrat to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1978. Ferraro was the first woman to chair her party's 1984 platform committee and the first female vice presidential nominee, running with Walter Mondale. She later worked for the UN and with Hillary Clinton. She died on March 26, 2011, in Boston, Massachusetts. Roy Halston Frowick, best known as Halston, was an iconic clothing designer of the 1970s. Born in Des Moines, Iowa on April 23, 1932, he started off designing hats. It was his dresses, however, that made him famous. They were sexy and streamlined, perfect for high-strung nights on a disco floor. After 2 decades of dressing the jet set, Halston was diagnosed with AIDS. He passed away in 1990. John Kennedy Toole was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, in 1937. An intelligent and accomplished student, he made his first foray into writing during his senior year of high school, when he wrote a novel titled The Neon Bible. After college, Toole was drafted into the Army and over the next 2 years began work on a new novel titled The Confederacy of Dunces. When he completed the novel but was unable to find a publisher, Toole grew increasingly depressed, becoming despondent and displaying highly erratic behavior. He later committed suicide in March 1969. Composer Ludwig van Beethoven was baptized on December 17, 1770, in Bonn, Germany. He was an innovator, widening the scope of sonata, symphony, concerto and quartet, and combining vocals and instruments in a new way. His personal life was marked by a struggle against deafness, and some of his most important works were composed during the last 10 years of his life, when he was quite unable to hear. He died in 1827 at the age of 56. Marshall Herff Applewhite was the leader of the Heaven's Gate religious cult in Texas. He was a self-proclaimed prophet, drawing rhetoric from science fiction and scripture. He led his group to commit mass suicide in 1997 in hopes of being lifted into a spaceship. His close partner, Bonnie Lou Nettles, decided they were the two mentioned in the Book of Revelation, meant for an important mission. Born on December 16, 1899, in Teddington, England, Noel Coward worked as a child actor before writing his own hit plays and songs, including The Vortex. He was known for using naturalistic conversation in his theatrical work and dealt with controversial subjects, including homosexuality. He worked on both stage and film with a number of acting luminaries for decades and was knighted in 1970. Coward died on March 26, 1973, in Jamaica. Born on July 23, 1888, in Chicago, Illinois, Raymond Chandler went on to become a highly successful and influential crime novelist known for such works as The Big Sleep, Farewell, My Lovely, and The Long Goodbye, all of which were made into films. Chandler was also a Hollywood screenwriter, receiving Academy Award nominations for his work on Double Indemnity and The Blue Dahlia. He died in La Jolla, California, on March 26, 1959. Minister, educator and writer Richard Allen was born into slavery on February 14, 1760. He later converted to Methodism and bought his freedom. Fed up with the treatment of African American parishioners at the St. George Episcopal congregation, He was also an activist and abolitionist whose ardent writings would inspire future visionaries. Allen died in 1831 in Philadelphia. Born on October 22, 1844 in Paris, France, Sarah Bernhardt was raised by her mother and attended the Paris Conservatoire as a teenager. She was later accepted by the Comédie Française and eventually found widespread fame acting on stages throughout Europe and America. When the new medium of film took hold, she was one of the first actors to appear in motion pictures, starring in her first film in 1900. Bernhardt died in 1923, and was honored posthumously with the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Poet and journalist Walt Whitman was born on May 31, 1819 in West Hills, New York. Considered one of America's most influential poets, Whitman aimed to transcend traditional epics and eschew normal aesthetic form to mirror the potential freedom to be found in America. In 1855 he self-published the collection Leaves of Grass. The book is now a landmark in American literature, though at the time of its publication it was considered highly controversial. Whitman later worked as a volunteer nurse during the Civil War, writing the collection Drum Taps, 1865, in connection to the experiences of war-torn soldiers. Having continued to produce new editions of Leaves of Grass along with original works, Whitman died on March 26, 1892 in Camden, New Jersey.